There comes a moment in many lives when everything familiar begins to fall apart. Beliefs that once felt solid collapse. Relationships shift or disappear. Meaning feels distant, and the inner voice that once guided you grows quiet. This experience has a name. It is called the dark night of the soul. And if you are going through it, this video is for you. What is the dark night of the soul? The dark night of the soul is not depression, though it may feel like it. It is not failure, though it can feel like everything is breaking. Metaphysically, the dark night of the soul is a spiritual initiation. It is the phase where the identity you have lived as, the ego, the roles, the inherited beliefs, can no longer carry your soul forward. The old self begins to dissolve, and that dissolution is painful. You may feel lost or disconnected from God, source, or meaning, emotionally empty or exhausted, detached from the life you once recognized, as though something inside you has died. But what is actually happening is not death, it is awakening. Why the dark night exists? From a spiritual perspective, the dark night of the soul occurs when the soul is ready to evolve beyond its current level of awareness. The soul has learned all it can from the old structures, so those structures must fall away. This experience forces you to confront your deepest fears, your unhealed wounds, your inherited emotional patterns, the illusions you've lived by, and this is where lineage reincarnation becomes deeply relevant. Lineage reincarnation, a deeper cause. Lineage reincarnation proposes that souls often reincarnate within the same ancestral bloodlines, returning to heal unresolved generational karma. In this view, the dark night of the soul is not random. It is often triggered when ancestral karma resurfaces, memories, emotions, or patterns that were never resolved in previous lives. You may be carrying trauma from war, persecution, or loss, generational shame, silence, or fear, unexpressed grief passed down unconsciously, roles you've lived before but must now transcend. When this accumulated karma reaches a critical point, the soul initiates a crisis, not to punish, but to awaken. Why it feels so personal and so heavy? During a dark night, people often say, "Why does this feel deeper than my own life?" Because it is. You may be feeling the emotional weight of many lifetimes, not just this one. For example, a soul that repeatedly reincarnated as caretakers may experience total burnout and loss of purpose. A soul that lived lives of silence may suddenly feel overwhelming anxiety or an urge to speak truth at any cost. A soul that once caused harm may experience profound guilt or self-rejection without knowing why. These emotions are not here to destroy you. They are here to be consciously healed. Examples of lineage reincarnation triggering a dark night. Consider a soul that reincarnates repeatedly within the same family line. A grandparent who survived poverty returns as a grandchild obsessed with security, but never satisfied. A parent who suppressed emotion returns as a child who feels everything intensely. An ancestor who lived by rigid rules returns as someone whose identity collapses when those rules no longer work. At some point, the soul can no longer continue the pattern unconsciously. That moment often appears as a dark night of the soul. The soul is saying, "We cannot go on like this anymore." What the soul is asking you to learn. The dark night of the soul is not asking you to fix your life. It is asking you to release identification with the old self, to learn that you are not your inherited roles, that suffering does not define your worth, that identity is temporary, but awareness is eternal, that healing the past requires presence, not avoidance. From the lineage reincarnation perspective, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing all of your ancestral past lives. When one soul becomes liberated, many are freed. How to navigate the dark night of the soul? Here are some grounding principles to help you move through it. Do not rush the process. Awakening unfolds in its own timing. Resistance prolongs suffering. Observe rather than identify. You are experiencing pain, but you are not the pain. Honor what is surfacing. Grief, anger, fear, these are ancestral energies asking to be seen. Simplify your life. The soul needs space to recalibrate. Less noise, less distraction. Seek meaning, not escape. This is not a phase to numb, it is a phase to understand. What comes after the dark night? Every dark night has an ending, not as a return to who you were, but as a rebirth into who you truly are. After the dark night, many report a deeper sense of compassion, emotional clarity, freedom from inherited patterns, a sense of spiritual maturity. You don't emerge unchanged, you emerge initiated. The purpose of the soul's journey. From the perspective of lineage reincarnation, the purpose of the soul is not perfection, it is integration, to collect experience, to refine karma, to heal what was fragmented across generations. The dark night of the soul is the moment when the soul turns inward and says, "It is time to awaken." If you are walking through darkness right now, know this: you are not lost, you are not broken, you are transforming. And remember, your soul is much older than your name, and your story is far from over.